VSP will show you where you're naturally gifted. What are you good at? What do you know on an instinctual level? What are your innate abilities? How do you go about achieving something with them? How can you use these gifts and talents to leave a mark and a name in the world? The signs that are always highly impacted by Venus Cazimis are the people ruled by the Sun and Venus. It is the Sun and Venus that are involved in the Cazimi. So this means that Leos are highly impacted by the Venus Cazimi because they're ruled by the Sun. Libra and Taurus are also highly impacted because Venus is their ruling planet. They are the ones who are essentially getting burnt up in the rays of the sun. So it doesn't matter where your natal VSP is, as long as you're ruled by the sun or Venus. It's always going to impact you intensely. The other people who are also going to be highly impacted, it looks like all the fixed signs, because the fixed signs have their angles ruled by the sun or Venus. The fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. You're always going to be highly impacted by any Venus Cazimi, whether it's your sun, your moon, or your rising, because your angle rulers are activated at any VSP. So if you are a fixed sign, it's going to be really beneficial for you to listen to the 5 signs on the VSP, because these VSPs are going to indicate the times when your life is going to take a major turning point, perhaps even a magical turning point. Hello YouTube, my name is Rachel Mayo, your personal astrologer. Welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel and you have not yet subscribed, please do so now. It's absolutely free. Today's discussion is going to focus on the Venus point that was active before your birth. This Venus is very different from your Venus in your natal birth chart. It can be in a totally different sign that doesn't even aspect your own natal Venus. Your natal Venus is the placement of where Venus was, which sign it was in at the time of your birth. Your natal Venus describes what you love and value and how you go about getting it. The VSP, on the other hand, is probably in a different sign unless you were born around the time of the Venus Cazimi. So to get the most out of this video, I'm going to suggest that you listen to your natal VSP and also listen to the VSP that are highlighted in this diagram, because these Venus points are going to be active in our lifetime, and we all have these signs somewhere in our chart. It's going to be useful for you to know what these VSP points represent, what their energy is all about, so that you can use them to your advantage when they become activated in your natal birth chart. This means that you have to listen to about 6 VSPs. So if you want to know which sign your VSP is in, I'm offering a special reading on the VSP. In this reading, I'll be able to tell you which VSP was active before your time of birth, that is your natal VSP. I will also tell you what it's aspecting in your own chart. We will also go over how it speaks to your own natal, how it speaks to your own natal Venus, and how you can go about using this VSP in Gemini. What does this VSP mean for you? Is it aspecting any other planet in your chart? What is this VSP promising for you when it comes to love or money, or what you love and value? The special reading is only for $80. It's a limited time offer, so book now. I would like to welcome all my new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. And another big thank you to all the people that comment on my videos. Commenting and liking my videos really helps my channel grow. It lets the YouTube algorithm know that you're loving the content of my videos. This way the YouTube algorithm will recommend my videos to other people on YouTube. And this is probably how you found my channel. Please leave me a comment. Let me know how the VSP in Gemini is working out for you so far. Is this Gemini VSP conjunct any planet in your natal birth chart? How is that working out for you? We would all love to know. So please share. I'd like to give a shout out to my friends at astrologyinternational.org. This is an astrology forum. So if you love everything about astrology and you'd like to hear other people's experiences with ongoing or past transit, I suggest that you come and join the discussion. It's absolutely free to join. I'm a member of this forum and I contribute quite frequently. I'm going to leave the link to this forum in the comment section of this video. So what is a VSP? This is the Venus point that was active before the time of your birth, the Venus Cazimi that happened just before you were born. Your VSP represents your star quality, your innate abilities, and the talents that you were gifted at the time of your birth. Talents and abilities that come naturally to you. This is more like your soul Venus. This is where you shine naturally. This VSP shows you how you can make the most contribution to humanity. It tells you about your emotional intelligence and how you can direct love. The Venus star point is a 5-pointed star. This VSP has an 8-year cycle. To put it quite simply, the meaning of the VSP is the Venus Cazimi. This is when Venus conjoins with the sun and is burnt up in the rays of the sun. This can happen with the retrograde Venus. This is called the inferior conjunction, and she's a morning star in this phase. This phase could also be looked upon as the new moon of the VSP. Her other conjunction is in her direct motion, and this is called the superior conjunction. She reappears as the evening star. This is essentially Venus's full moon appearance. So essentially, this means that Venus is going to spend 8 years in one sign as a morning star for 4 years, and then after 4 years, she's going to rise as the evening star in her direct motion. However, there are other Venus Cazimis that happen every 9.5 months in other signs. So during a particular lifetime period, there are only 5 signs that are active on the Venus star point. These star points and degrees are very important. If you have any of those degrees activating or conjuncting anything in your natal birth chart, like a planet, a point, an angle, this indicates that these are going to be major life turning points for you. So pay attention to the degrees that are being activated. Each sign has 30 degrees. So Venus is going to be going backwards, anti-clockwise, through the sign. I'm going to be referring to the degrees in this diagram. These are the signs that are going to be active in our lifetime, and these are the degrees that have been active during the past few years. So I'm going to suggest that you take a screenshot of this diagram so that you can have this diagram to refer to when you're looking for the degrees in your chart. I'm going to go through the specific signs that are activated and the degrees that were activated in the recent past. Our last VSP was in the sign of Leo at around 20 degrees of Leo, and this happened on the 13th of August 2023. The VSP in Leo was a retrograde VSP. So 9.5 months later, it came to fruition in the sign of Gemini, a direct Venus at 1429 of Gemini. And this is her evening star phase. The Leo Venus star point was her morning star phase because it was a retrograde Venus. Gemini VSP replaces the Leo VSP. It's now at the top of the chart. The last time we had a VSP in the sign of Gemini was on June 3rd, 2020. And this one was at 13 degrees of Gemini. It was a retrograde Venus. March 26, 2021, we had a direct Venus at 5 degrees of Aries. This was in her evening phase. January 8th, 2022, we had the VSP in the sign of Capricorn at 18 degrees of Capricorn. This was a morning phase because she was a retrograde Venus. October 22, 2022, we had a Venus point for the first time in the sign of Libra. She was backing away from the sign of Scorpio. This VSP happened at 29 degrees of Libra. She was an evening star because she was in her direct phase. This VSP is very important, and we've already seen her being active. The sign of Libra is the sign that rules over law and balance. It also rules over our marriages, our partnerships, our open enemies. We've all seen the high-profile lawsuits that have been happening. We haven't seen these type of lawsuits occur in our lifetime, and this is all because of the VSP in the sign of Libra. This is going to be a theme for many, many years to come. 7th house is the house of our open enemies. As we all know, sometimes business partnerships and agreements tend to not stay in agreement. There are breakups sometimes. So your marriage partner or business partner becomes an open enemy. Now you're fighting each other using lawyers and the justice system. The next VSP happened on August 13 in the sign of Leo at about 20 degrees of Leo. This was a retrograde Venus, a morning star Venus. Next VSP was in the sign of Gemini, and this one happened on June 4th at around 1429 degrees of Gemini. This is a direct Venus. This is the VSP that we're currently in, and we're going to be for the next 4 years. The next VSP will happen on March 2025 in the sign of Aries at around 2 degrees of Aries. This is going to be a retrograde Venus in her morning star phase. This VSP is looking a bit gnarly because this VSP is ruled by Mars, and Mars is the god of war, and a retrograde Venus tends to bring disagreements. She's a fighting Venus. Venus on her own can be either a peaceful Venus or a warring Venus. Of course, she wants peace. If fairness is not prevailing, Venus can go to war. And in the sign of Libra, she's in the sign where she wants peace. She's in the sign where she wants peace and balance, if it can be achieved. The next VSP will be on January 6th, 2026 at 16 degrees of Capricorn. She will be a direct Venus in her evening star phase. The next VSP will be on October 23, 2026 at 0 degrees of Scorpio. She's going to be in her retrograde phase, her morning star phase. This is another VSP ruled by Mars in her retrograde phase, in her morning star phase. And as I said earlier, her morning star phase is not a peaceful Venus, it's a warring Venus. Going back into the sign of Scorpio, which rules over death, sex, and transformation. This one looks a little bit gnarly. VSP retrograding into the sign of Scorpio is going back to complete certain things that she was not able to complete because the VSP moved into the sign of Libra. We may be going back and looking over the issues that happened at the VSP in the sign of Libra, 29 degrees of Libra. This VSP happened in October 2022. The next VSP will be on August 11, 2027 at 19 degrees Leo. This will be a direct Venus in her evening star phase. On June 1st, 2028, we're going to complete the 8-year cycle of Venus in Gemini. This is going to happen at 11 degrees of Gemini. She's going to be in her retrograde phase, a morning star Venus. So those are the signs and the degrees that are going to be active in our lifetime. So if you have anything on those degrees and in those signs, those are the dates that you have to look out for. Something that is going to change your values, what you love and value, your relationships, your money is going to happen around those dates. Venus has the most magical cycle in astrology. The VSP will reveal the timing of major life-changing events in your life. If you'd like to know more about the VSP, I'm going to recommend that you Google Ariel Gutman. She is the pioneer of this VSP. And if you'd like to know more about our current VSP in Gemini, I suggest that you go and watch the video that I did on the new moon in Gemini and the VSP. That video has much more information and examples of just how this VSP can change your life. I gave my personal examples, other people's examples in this video. So you can see how this VSP can set the trends that we're going through as a society and as mankind. If your Venus point is in the sign of Aries, your VSP is ruled by Mars. Mars is the planet that rules the sign of Aries. Aries is a sign of courage. This is the first sign of the zodiac. You're going to have this innate desire to be courageous and to be first at everything, to be a winner, to be a leader. So if you come up with ideas that you think are just too brand new, nobody's ever done it, you have to be courageous. You have to go for it and just do it, because you are a pioneer as the first sign of the zodiac. So people with an Aries VSP are probably people who have started things most people would be afraid to start. Your innate ability with an Aries VSP is your ability to just start things, to just go ahead and do it. Courage, leadership, being a pioneer, an inventor. So if you have an Aries VSP, pay attention, because that's the next one that is coming up. So if this is your VSP, this is going to be an important point where you can birth something brand new into the collective consciousness. VSP in the sign of Aries, ruled by Mars, the god of war. Mars is also a planet that rules over metals, weapons, knives, and guns. Somebody with this placement can be a marksman, a soldier, or a policeman. Mars is an energetic planet. This is a planet of effort. So this means that a person with this VSP can also be an athlete. So if you'd like to know how this VSP functions in your natal birth chart, I suggest you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. If your VSP is in the sign of Taurus, this is really special because Taurus is ruled by the sign of Venus. So this means that every VSP, every Venus Cazimi, is going to be really important for you, because that is your ruler being burnt up in the rays of the sun to be reborn into a new Venus, either the morning star or the evening star. If this is your VSP, you really have to pay attention. Although I don't think this VSP is going to be active in our lifetime. This is a VSP that probably happened a few lifetimes ago. We can always go back into history to see how this VSP functioned in the people that had it. So this VSP is all about what we love and value. It's probably going to focus on finances, love, and beauty. So if this is your VSP, you have the natural talent when it comes to skills in the beauty industry, makeup or beauty treatments. You probably also have a knack for the food industry because the sign of Taurus also rules over the mouth, what we say and what we put into our mouth. Most people who have a Venus in Taurus are naturally beautiful in the face. They have beautiful facial features. This VSP is going to focus on the luxuries of life and how to attain them. So it's going to focus on our ability to earn a living, to make money, so that we can afford those luxuries. Taurus, is the second house, also rules over what comes out of the mouth. Most people with this VSP have a lovely voice, a lovely singing voice, and they're probably artists. Taurus is a fixed sign, so it's a very stable sign. It's going to keep and maintain whatever it attains. Taurus is a sign that does not like change. When this VSP is happening and it's active, which fortunately is not happening in our lifetime, it can be very difficult when you have your ruling planet being burnt up in the rays of the sun. If your VSP is in the sign of Gemini, this is my natal VSP. If you'd like to find out more about this VSP, there's much more information in the video that I did prior, the video on the Gemini new moon and the VSP. This was the VSP that was activated and it's going to be active for the next 4 years. So this is really important. The VSP in Gemini is ruled by the sign of Mercury. Mercury rules the natural third house of the zodiac. This is the house of siblings, communication, computers, all the little gadgets that we use in our life to make our life easier. It also rules over our siblings and our neighbors. As I mentioned before, there's a lot more information in the previous video. Mercury also rules over the mind and our thought process. It also rules over communication. Your talent here is communication. You probably have multiple skills because Gemini is a dual sign. So many people with this VSP are more than likely to have 2 jobs, a main job and a side gig. The third house is a really huge house. It's a very important house. Most people don't realize how important this house is. Mercury is the planet that is most active in everything that we do on a daily basis. This is the fastest moving planet, and just like the pace of our thoughts, the pace of speech, that all happens very fast. So everything begins in the mind and then we process it through our mouth, through speech, or through our hands. With this VSP, you're a natural communicator. You probably have multiple skills that you can use to earn a living. It's also very possible that you have multiple skills using your hands. So this means that you're a natural communicator, a natural storyteller, a writer, and because you have an overactive mind, this means that you're always learning and you're always coming up with great ideas. This means that you can also be an excellent teacher. You can also be good at investigative reporting. You can be excellent as a YouTuber or a newscaster. This VSP has many talents and innate abilities. With the VSP in the sign of Cancer, this VSP is ruled by the moon. This VSP is the natural 4th house of the zodiac. So family, home, ancestry are going to be very important. Having a secure place to call home is going to be very important to you. Having a family, being a nurturer, your mother is also going to be very important to you. Your natural talent and abilities lie in nurturing others, taking care of other people. Cancer is the most emotional sign in the zodiac. It rules over the IC. This is our most sensitive and vulnerable point in the zodiac. You can also be good at evaluating other people's feelings and helping them to process their deep emotions, their resentments. So this means that you can excel in fields that take care of people, their feelings and their emotions. You can be a great therapist, so a psychologist or psychiatrist. You can also excel in real estate or in the food industry, anything that provides comfort and shelter. So having children for this VSP is also very important. There is an innate desire to create a family and a safe environment. If you have your VSP in the sign of Leo, this is also very important. The sun is the power behind this Venus point. It is the sun that provides the heat to burn the energy of Venus. This is an important VSP. This is the VSP that is going to be active in our lifetime. So essentially this means that this VSP is important for all of us. So if this is your VSP, it means that all Venus Cazimis are very important to you because you're involved in this process. You are the sun. You are the one that is burning the energy of Venus. So this means that every VSP is going to be a turning point in the house that is ruled by the sun. Leo rules the fifth house of the zodiac. This is the house that rules over our creative ability. Our greatest creation are our children. So it rules over children, and it rules over entertainment. It rules over romance. This is also the house of our luck. Luck that we earned from a previous lifetime or early in our life through our good deeds. So this luck is available for us to use in this lifetime. Whenever there's a VSP, this is your luck being reborn. We all know that Leos are natural entertainers. They own the stage. They're always in the spotlight. So this VSP is all about being in the spotlight, perhaps being an entertainer, being a celebrity, being somebody who earns a living because of their creative ability, their talents. And this could be in art, music, singing and writing, or any other talents that you have, talents that can put you center stage. With a VSP in the sign of Leo, you're naturally going to seek the spotlight. You're going to want to be on stage in some way. And when others see you displaying your talents, naturally going to find joy through your talents, your creativity, your music, your art. This is a VSP that's going to bring joy to others. This is a VSP of romance. You're going to seek happiness through lovemaking and romance. This is the casual type of relationships. The relationships begin in the fifth house. This is the house of dating, romance, casual sex, and perhaps one night stands. Your innate abilities here is creativity and your willingness to display your creative talents. And this is what inspires other people to have the courage to show their talents. If your VSP falls in the sign of Virgo, you are ruled by Mercury. So your talent here is communication. And this communication is not any kind of communication as in the sign of Gemini. This is communication that is useful. So you gather information that is useful. You separate the wheat from the chaff. Virgo is the natural sixth house of the zodiac. The sixth house rules over our daily routine, our work that we do, our diet, our health. It also rules over our known enemies. And our known enemies could be our bad habits like smoking, doing drugs, or eating too much. This is the house where we take care of ourselves. So if your VSP is in the sign of Virgo, you probably have a strong work ethic. You're good at taking care of other people. You could have a successful career in the health industry as a dietitian, a doctor, or anything that helps heal others, anything that helps manage other people's daily routines. You could also be a personal trainer. Essentially, this means that people with this VSP are good workers. They have a strong work ethic. These are the people who continue working after hours. Virgo is the sign of service. What's really important with this VSP or your innate ability is the ability to help other people. Is your ability to be efficient and provide service to others. So how can you be of service to humanity? This VSP is not active in our lifetime. So if you have a VSP in the sign of Libra, all VSPs are very important to you simply because your ruling planet is Venus. It is the planet Venus that gets burnt up in the rays of the sun. So it is Venus that is essentially being reborn. So each VSP that happens, regardless of the sign, is going to affect you personally. Libra is the natural seventh house of the zodiac. It rules over committed partnerships. It rules over marriage. It also rules over our open enemies. This is the house of sex. This house rules over anything that we do with another person. This is a house that rules over balance. It is also the sign of law. So that means it also rules over lawyers. When your marriage partner or business partner becomes an open enemy because you're breaking up and going through a divorce, you're going to need legal assistance. This VSP is really important for us in this lifetime. It was activated for the first time, I believe it was 2022, at 29 degrees of Libra, coming out of the sign of Scorpio. So this is the first time that we're experiencing this VSP in our lifetime. So it's going to stick around for a very long time. Your innate ability here is finding the balance in relationships. So this means that you could make an excellent counselor, an excellent lawyer. You can become an excellent marriage counselor. You can also have a career in the beauty industry. The Libra VSP becoming active for the first time in our lifetime. This means that issues of fairness, justice, partnerships, and all legal issues are going to become very important to us moving forward. Since this VSP seeks balance and fairness, this means that this is also going to be a focus for us moving forward. We're all going to want peace on earth. This VSP can use its talents in many areas in our life. We need this VSP. If your VSP is in the sign of Scorpio, the VSP in the sign of Scorpio is ruled by Mars, and Scorpio rules the natural 8th house of the zodiac. This is a very big VSP. This is a very big house. This 8th house rules over sex, death, and taxes. It rules over our secrets that we keep from others, and even the secrets that we keep from ourselves. It also rules over deep intimacy, deep bonding. This is the house of shared resources. It rules over mortgages, banks. Essentially, it rules other people's money. This is the VSP that we recently concluded. In 2022, it moved into the sign of Libra. This means that we're going to be moving away from issues of the big bang. We're moving away from the issues of the 8th house and moving into the sign of Libra and finding balance in the 8th house issues. However, this is a topic on the sign of Scorpio. Your innate ability here is to see through people, or see what's behind the veil, see what they're hiding deep beneath the surface. So this means that you have the superpower, the ability to find out other people's secrets. You can use this VSP as a therapist. You can also use this VSP to become a surgeon. You're using planet Mars to cut through and investigate what is deep beneath the tissues or the organs. Scorpio is a fixed sign, so you have this ability to be resilient and to be fixed and to pursue something until you master it. So Scorpio is a sign that is not afraid to go into the dark spaces. Your innate ability here is persistency, resiliency, tenacity, and focus. 8th house also rules over the occult. Mars is the ruler of Scorpio, and so is Pluto. You have to use what these two planets represent in order to best use this VSP. If your VSP is in the sign of Sagittarius, you're ruled by Jupiter. Sagittarius is the natural 9th house of the zodiac. The 9th house rules over the justice system, law and order, foreigners, foreign lands, foreign languages. It rules over gurus, priests, professors. It rules over higher education, universities. So your talents can be found in any of these areas. Sagittarius is a lucky sign. It's a lucky house. This is the house that rules over our future. With this VSP, you are a natural explorer. You are the people that discovered far off foreign lands. You are the people that ventured out into space and walked in the moon. I'm saying this in past tense because this is a VSP we're not going to experience in our lifetime. This is a VSP that happened in the 1900s when a lot of different lands were being discovered. So perhaps Columbus had a VSP in Sagittarius. You're going to encounter foreigners, foreign languages, different types of cultures. You're going to have to learn different customs. People with this VSP have ventured into the unknown and they've traveled into different lands, have learned different languages, have learned different cultures, and became wiser for doing so. So these are your innate abilities, the ability to go into the unknown and explore. If your VSP is in the sign of Capricorn, this VSP is ruled by Saturn and it rules over the natural 10th house of the zodiac. These are the builders in our society. Capricorn is the 10th house of the zodiac. It's the highest point in the zodiac. This is the most public house in the zodiac. Whatever happens here is going to be known by the public. This is the sign also that rules over the government, hierarchies. It also rules over our bosses. It rules over our status in society. Capricorn places a high value on traditions. So if this is your VSP, you're going to be a person that will succeed the most by following tradition, rules, and regulations. You're probably going to be some type of leader or perhaps even a politician. You're the type of person that's going to succeed the most by relying or using things that have been tried, things that have been proven, things that your parents or your ancestors did. Things that are reliable. This is a VSP that has very high standards. Capricorn is one of the most responsible signs in the zodiac. So your innate ability is being accountable and being responsible. This is a VSP that is active in our lifetime. This is one of the VSPs that we have to pay attention to. That is because hierarchies and the government our status is always going to be important. If your VSP is in the sign of Aquarius, you're ruled by Saturn and Uranus. Aquarius is the natural 11th house of the zodiac. The 11th house rules over our hopes, dreams, and wishes. This is the house that rewards the work that we do in the 10th house. We receive the promotions, the accolades, the financial windfalls in this VSP. This VSP also rules over our friends, our uncles, our aunties, our social media platforms. The VSP in Aquarius is not active in our lifetime. It must have been active over the past few decades because Aquarius also rules over technology. It's over the past decades that technology became really important. We now have an active VSP in the sign of Capricorn. If your natal VSP is in the sign of Aquarius, technology is very important to you. Technology is where you're going to find the most success. Belonging to social media platforms, finding and using benefactors to help achieve your hopes, dreams, and wishes. This means that finding somebody to help you back your dreams by financing your projects. Being that this VSP is ruled by the sign of Uranus, Uranus is a futuristic planet. It's the planet that rules over technology or anything that is unknown to us or foreign to us. So with this VSP, you shouldn't be afraid to try something that is different and radical. This VSP is the VSP of inventors. So your gift here is the ability to see into the future, your vision, the vision of the futuristic Earth, new technology, venturing to other planets. This is a very progressive VSP, so don't be afraid to be radical. And since Aquarius is a fixed sign, whatever this VSP brings into humanity, it's going to stick around for a long time. The Taurus VSP is a fixed sign, so whatever is started in the Taurus VSP tends to stick around for a long time. So we probably have kept some of the things that we started during the time of the Taurus VSPs. If the VSP is in the sign of Pisces, you're ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. Pisces is the last sign in the zodiac. It is the 12th house of the zodiac. This is the house of endings. It's the house of generational karma. And this is the karma that you earn from your ancestors, from other generations, because of the family that you were born into. This is not karma that you created. This is the karma that we sometimes refer to as the sins of your fathers. 12th house also rules over far off unknown lands. This is a house of spirituality, psychic ability. This is the house of mediumship. This house speaks to the other side. So some of you may have the ability to be a psychic, to be an astrologer, or even a medium. The 12th house rules over hidden places like hospitals, prisons, or anything that we do behind the scenes. This is also the house of loss. It's a house of sleep, dreams. It also rules over places and things that are not yet known to mankind, like aliens or other planets. So when you're in a dark room where you can't see, you're either going to need the help of a therapist, a psychic, an astrologer, a spiritual person, or you're going to rely on your psychic abilities or your psychic abilities or your subconscious. So this is essentially the house of imagination. In a totally dark space, you just have to imagine. You just have to rely on your subconscious and your psychic abilities in order to envision what is in this dark hidden place. So your imagination is very active, your dreams are very active. And this is why this VSP can be very talented, because they're bringing something to life, something that they pulled out of their subconscious or imagination. So that you can be great at almost anything. You can be great at a lot of things that require imagination and bringing something that you dreamt of and making it become reality. Neptune is the planet that rules over our illusions and deceptions. Jupiter is a planet of expansion. So if you use your innate abilities here of creativity, imagination, Jupiter is going to come in and expand it. Jupiter here ruling Pisces, there is a certain level of protection that we'll experience with this VSP. This house also rules over our hidden enemies, our self-sabotaging habits and we can be our own hidden enemy through our self-sabotaging habits, like alcoholism, doing drugs, hidden relationships like dating somebody's husband, somebody else's partner, or somebody who you know you should not be in a relationship with. It also rules over sex, simply because sex is usually done behind the scenes. This is a house where we are essentially blind because we cannot see in this house. It's a dark house, it's also a very big house. This is the house where we need the help of another person in order to see what's going on in this house. Neptune is the planet that also rules over the seas. It dissolves boundaries.